And our guest,
CBN's
chief political correspondent, David Brody. David, persecution of Christians, as the threat grows in the Middle East and elsewhere, why the inaction or the seeming inaction?
Well, there will be a lot of Republicans on Capitol Hill and a lot of conservatives that say it begins with this president. Rand Paul and Ted Cruz have really been leading the way as it relates to this issue. And I have to tell you, this will be a Tier A issue in the 2016 presidential campaign, especially within the Republican primary. But quite frankly, when Hillary Clinton runs, she's going to be talking about it too, obviously, based on her time as Secretary of State. Look, this is gone from, let's be honest, a Tier B issue to a Tier A issue. There's been a lot of talk about this, not just around the world, but here in America as it relates to the religious liberty issue. Kind of the two are intertwined to a degree. You know, Rand Paul actually has a bill out there that would stop all aid to countries that persecute Christians. He has a bill on the floor of the United States Senate now. Senator Cruz has somewhat of a similar bill. So this is the future of what we're talking about here legislatively and quite frankly within conservative circles.
And David, let me ask you this. The Pope has come out and said that violence could be an option to protect Christians. How do you react to this, especially very different, if you will, from what happened with the Nazi Holocaust where, you know, the church was very silent here?
Well, I think this is where it's going. I mean, to the point where you have the Pope saying things like that. I mean, you know, it has gotten so bad in so many different places, and there's so many examples that indeed this is where we're going with it. And I think you're going to see a lot more outspokenness, not just within the Catholic Church, but within the evangelical Christian community. The question is, will evangelicals in the United States wake up to what's going on over across the globe or around the globe?
And as we go around the world to the Middle East, we were all shocked by the terror attack in the synagogue yesterday in Jerusalem. Curiously, Israel protects the religious rights of everyone within its borders, even though founded technically as the Jewish state. Christians in Israel, by and large, free of persecution, and yet the rabbis yesterday in that synagogue attacked. What do you see happening in the short term in Israel?
Well, there are so many different moving parts here. I mean, look, Benjamin Netanyahu, Netanyahu, as we know, is not having the best relationship with the president. It's been that way for a while now. And so I think when you have a different American leadership, you're going to see somewhat of a different contour of the relationship. But look, this is a very complicated situation, and I have kind of a personal and a professional opinion on, I shouldn't say opinion, but analysis on both. And that is, you know, I grew up Jewish. And so I come from I gave my life to Christ. I'm a Christian, but I'm a Jew, obviously. And so we have a lot of folks in our family that are Reformed Jews. There are a lot of Reformed Jews out there that basically will side more with the liberal side of the equation, supporting more, not supporting Hamas, but understanding a little bit more about what the Palestinians are going through compared to supporting Israel. When it comes to Orthodox Jews, it's a much different story. The more conservative, they're going to support Israel, no doubt about it. So there's all different factions here, and it's a world I live in constantly.
And since you said a personal anecdote here, and we got 20 seconds, and this is a personal question, but are you hopeful?
Sure, I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
You know, I think when we're not hopeful, then we're in a bad place. And I think you need to be hopeful. Having said that, we're living in perilous times. Israel's living in perilous times. But, you know, ultimately, it's not going to be solved with politics. There are a lot of folks here that really believe that restoration is needed. And we'll see. At least a moral restoration in this country is needed.
The challenge of these times, this temporal world, against the promises of eternity.
For sure.
Wish we had more time to talk, but again, we're confined by time. It's about up. David Brody of CBN, thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, JD.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, all.
And America's Forum will continue here on Newsmax TV right after this.